Did you know that your negative thoughts might be the only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams? Most people live stuck in mental patterns that keep them away from achieving true prosperity and, of course, financial freedom. If you think that these automatic, self-sabotaging thoughts are something you just have to accept, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're wrong. The good news is that you have the power to reprogram your mind. The secret? Practicing gratitude, learning to identify and challenge these thoughts, and, above all, forgiving yourself. No, I'm not talking about something outlandish or complicated. What I'm saying is that the key to changing your life is in your own mind, and that's something you can start changing right now at this very moment. Don't waste time thinking it's too late or that you have no control. Let's break it down, step by step, and see how these simple changes can put you on the right path to achieving everything you want. The power to win in life is just one thought away, and I'll show you how to access it. Stoic philosophy is a powerful ally when it comes to dealing with negative thoughts. Imagine this situation. You get some news that messes with your emotions. Suddenly, that thought of insecurity, of not being enough, hits you, and you begin to identify with it. The first lesson from Stoicism is to understand that these thoughts are not you. They are like clouds passing in the sky of your mind. Accepting that negative thoughts will arise is the first step in not letting them take over. Instead of fighting them, learn to observe them without attachment. This will allow you to regain control and focus on your true intention, the prosperity and financial freedom you're after. When you stop identifying with these thoughts, they start to lose their power. This simple exercise of observation brings clarity and space for more rational and focused action. This practice of observation doesn't mean being passive, but rather being active in the way you choose to react. When you understand that the human mind is prone to creating stories and limiting beliefs, you'll realize that these thoughts don't have power over you unless you allow them. Changing your life involves breaking free from these invisible chains that keep us stuck. This can be seen in everyday situations. When the fear of failure arises, you can respond by observing that fear and reminding yourself that it's not a sentence, just a temporary emotion. This distance from the emotion helps bring clarity to your actions. This is how you begin to operate from a place of calm, not reactivity, aiming to not just win in life but to do so with emotional intelligence. This is the first step to creating a life with more financial freedom and fewer anxieties. But while observing these thoughts, it's important to remember that it's not just about ignoring them. Stoicism also teaches us to accept what we can't control, like the rise of certain thoughts. Imagine yourself in a stressful situation, and instead of getting swept away by anger or anxiety, you allow yourself to notice the emotion but don't stray from your clear vision of prosperity. You recognize that these thoughts are just fleeting reflections and don't define your destiny. This requires practice. But each time you distance yourself from the emotion and reflect on what you really want, you build a solid foundation for changing your life, achieving success and peace that everyone is seeking, including financial freedom. When you're stressed or anxious, the first thing that usually happens is a change in your body, right? Your chest tightens, your breath becomes shallow and rapid, and your mind begins to spiral into negative thinking. This is where the power of breath and posture comes in. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our physical posture can directly influence our mindset. When you adopt a confident posture and breathe deeply, your body starts signaling to your mind that everything is under control. This creates a sense of calm and focus. Think about something simple like practicing slow, deep breathing for a few minutes. It helps release the tension building up, allowing your mind to calm down so you can regain control over your thoughts. This process of reconnecting with calm is a powerful tool for anyone seeking to change their life and achieve prosperity. Breathing isn't just a biological mechanism, it's an emotional ally that can bring clarity and balance amid chaos. Similarly, posture has a similar impact. Imagine you're about to face a challenge, like a presentation at work or a financially stressful moment. If you hunch over and shrink, your mind will automatically start feeling defeated. But when you adopt an upright posture, with your shoulders back and your head high, you send a signal to your brain that you're ready to face whatever comes your way. This can be the key to maintaining confidence, especially when you're pursuing financial freedom. By adjusting your posture and breathing, you create a positive feedback loop. As a result, your mind becomes more capable of resisting negative thoughts that usually arise during times of adversity. This simple habit is something many successful people adopt, even unknowingly, and it makes all the difference when it comes to winning in life and reaching high goals. For example, before an important meeting or when making a crucial financial decision, pause for a moment. Breathe deeply and straighten your posture. Feel the difference in how your body responds. The act of breathing in a controlled way and adjusting your posture doesn't just improve your physiology, it also enhances your psychology. It creates a space where your thoughts can be clearer and more rational, rather than being dominated by anxiety and fear. This shift in emotional state is one of the first steps for those who want to break free from the shackles of negative thinking and create a more prosperous life. One of the most powerful skills we can develop is the ability to identify negative thought patterns as they arise. Often, these patterns are automatic, based on past experiences or limiting beliefs we've carried since childhood. Stoicism teaches us that the first step is to recognize that our thoughts are not always the reality. When you begin to identify cognitive distortions, like catastrophizing, where you imagine the worst possible scenario, or generalization, where you believe that one mistake defines your entire future, you start weakening the power of these ideas. This is crucial for those who want to change their life because these thought patterns often keep people trapped in negative cycles that prevent prosperity and financial success. When you recognize these patterns, you've already taken the first step in breaking the cycle and redirecting your mind toward building a better life. Identifying these patterns is an exercise in self-awareness. When you notice that you're being overly pessimistic or self-critical, for example, it's important to take a step back and ask yourself, is this thought really true? Is there another way to view this situation? A good exercise is to label these negative thoughts. Call them limiting beliefs or unproductive thoughts. This simple act of labeling weakens their strength because you see them for what they really are, just thoughts, not reality. Now, you're in control, no longer being controlled by these thoughts. For example, if you think you'll never achieve financial freedom because you don't have enough money, question that. What you're really saying is, I don't have the money yet, but I'm on my way to getting it. Shifting the way you see the situation opens the door to new opportunities and strategies, moving you away from fear and doubt that often keep people stuck. This process of identifying and challenging negative thoughts is one of the most effective ways to strengthen your mind. When you apply this, you create a space where your actions are based on confidence, not fear or uncertainty. Not only does this improve your mental health, but it also directly affects your ability to win in life. Over time, you'll learn to reprogram your thoughts, moving them from a mindset of lack and scarcity to one of abundance and prosperity. And as this happens, the opportunity arises to rewrite your financial story. However, this mental reprogramming work is intensified when you start externalizing your negative thoughts in a practical way. When negative thoughts pile up, your mind can become overwhelmed. An excellent way to deal with this is through writing. By putting your thoughts on paper, you begin to externalize everything that's bothering you. This helps organize your ideas and see situations from a new perspective. Writing allows you to detach from the emotions and see what's really happening without being overtaken by them. Imagine writing about your financial worries, for example. By doing this, you start to see patterns, identify which thoughts are holding you back from moving toward financial freedom. Writing not only clears your mind, but it also clarifies your goals, helping you find solutions in a more rational way. This process of externalization can be done in various ways. One simple example is a gratitude journal. But instead of just listing what you're grateful for, also write about what worries you, what's stopping you from thriving. Ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? What are my limiting beliefs that arise in these situations? Writing about this allows you to gain emotional distance and realize that, often, negative thoughts are exaggerated or based on unfounded fears. As a result, you become more aware of the patterns that hold you back and begin to reframe them. This creates a healthier space to act and win in life, without the paralyzing influence of doubt. So, don't underestimate the power of writing. Try starting with 10 minutes a day, jotting down your deepest thoughts and feelings. Over time, you'll notice that this exercise not only relieves the mind but also helps strengthen your future vision. This sets the foundation for the next step: practicing gratitude, a powerful tool for reducing the intensity of negative thoughts and maintaining mental balance. Gratitude is a simple yet extremely powerful practice for combating negative thoughts that arise in our day-to-day lives. When faced with financial difficulties or the weight of pressure to succeed in life, it's easy to fall into a cycle of negativity. However, gratitude teaches us to focus on what we already have, instead of what we're lacking. Imagine this situation: you're facing financial trouble, and instead of panicking, you begin to be grateful for the small victories you've already achieved. Gratitude has the power to redirect your mind, making you focus on what's working rather than what's wrong. This, in turn, creates a more positive mindset and opens you up to new opportunities for prosperity. When you practice gratitude, you're, in a way, challenging negative thoughts. Instead of being consumed by fear or doubt, you acknowledge that there's always something to be grateful for. It might be your health, the support of friends and family, or even the opportunity to learn from mistakes. The more you practice this kind of mindset, the easier it becomes to realize that life isn't just about challenges, but about valuable moments that guide us toward success. Gratitude goes beyond a mere emotional exercise. It becomes an effective strategy for dealing with obstacles and finding the strength to keep moving toward your financial goals. It's not about ignoring problems, but choosing where your energy will go. For example, if you're going through a tough time at work or in your journey toward financial freedom, start your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. This shifts your perception of what's going on, helping you focus on solutions instead of getting lost in problems. This simple exercise can be the necessary push to act more confidently and positively. And over time, gratitude becomes second nature, making your mindset more resilient and more open to the opportunities that arise. This gratitude exercise, combined with Stoic practices, creates a solid foundation for you to thrive in all areas of life. Thus, by adopting gratitude as a daily tool, you reduce the impact of negative thoughts, strengthen your mind, and create an environment conducive to prosperity. The next step in this journey of self-discovery and overcoming involves understanding how neuroplasticity can be an ally in reprogramming your brain for more positive thoughts. Neuroplasticity is a fascinating concept that reveals the incredible ability of our brain to adapt and change over time. When we talk about reprogramming the mind for positive thoughts, we're directly tapping into this power of the brain. Neuroplasticity shows us that we're not prisoners of our old, negative thought patterns. On the contrary, we can create new neural connections, training our mind to focus on healthier, more constructive thoughts. This is great news for anyone who wants to change their life, because it means you can train your brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles and create a path toward financial freedom. To apply this in your daily life, you need to start with small habits that reinforce positivity. Constantly repeating positive thoughts or actions focused on success will create new connections in your brain, making these new patterns more automatic and natural over time. For example, instead of fixating on a negative thought like, "I'll never have enough money," start training your brain with a positive affirmation like, "I'm on the right path and every step brings me closer to my financial freedom." Over time, your brain will absorb this new mentality, and it will become a natural part of your daily thought process. These changes don't happen overnight, but the science of neuroplasticity teaches us that the constant practice of new patterns can, indeed, shape our brain in a positive way. It's like a workout for the mind, where instead of getting lost in patterns of scarcity and negativity, you start focusing on what's possible, on actions you can take to thrive and reach your financial goals. When you train your brain to think more positively, you'll start noticing that obstacles, once overwhelming, become opportunities for growth. This mental shift, based on neuroplasticity, is one of the keys to achieving prosperity. Instead of staying stuck in old habits and negative thoughts, you begin to see yourself with a new perspective, more capable, more determined, and more prepared to win in life. And by doing this, you build the foundation to avoid mental inactivity, which is the next crucial step in the journey toward a healthier, more positive mind. An idle mind can be fertile ground for negative thoughts. When you don't give your mind clear direction, It tends to get lost in cycles of uncertainty and negativity. Stoicism teaches us that the mind must always be active, seeking to learn, grow, and focus on solutions. When you keep your mind engaged with constructive activities, such as learning a new skill, planning your next steps toward financial freedom, or diving deeper into books about success and prosperity, you prevent it from straying into negativity. Staying anger. Imagine, for instance, that you're going through a difficult time, financially speaking. If you're not busy with something that helps you move forward, like studying investments or looking for new ways to increase your income, your mind will quickly turn to the worst-case scenarios. By keeping your mind active with learning or projects, you maintain confidence in yourself while also avoiding the trap of procrastination. Remember, the human mind needs constant stimuli to thrive, and there's nothing more powerful to keep your mind focused than working toward a clear and tangible goal, like achieving financial freedom. The same applies to work and relationships. When you find yourself without tasks or purpose, negative thoughts start to take over. However, if you decide to create a daily routine that includes personal development, physical exercise, continuous learning, or even moments of reflection, you direct your energy into productive actions. This not only prevents mental inactivity but also creates an environment conducive to personal growth. When you begin to actively engage in your own development, negative thoughts begin to lose space, and you start feeling the power of your mind focused on solutions rather than problems. Therefore, the key is not to let your mind settle into the void of inactivity. Staying active and focused is essential to avoid the vicious cycle of negative thoughts. This habit not only keeps your mind healthy, but also sets the stage for practicing self-compassion and forgiving yourself, which are essential for breaking free from self-destructive criticism. Forgiving yourself is a vital practice for anyone looking to overcome self-criticism and move forward in life. Self-criticism, often fueled by negative thoughts, is one of the biggest obstacles we face in the quest for success and financial freedom. Every mistake or failure becomes a weight, a reason to doubt our abilities. However, Stoicism teaches us that mistakes are opportunities for learning, and that blaming ourselves for them only keeps us from moving forward. Practicing self-forgiveness doesn't mean excuse. When you forgive yourself, you remove the burden of guilt and make room for growth. Imagine you made a financial mistake, like a bad investment. Instead of blaming yourself and dwelling on it, practice forgiving yourself. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I avoid this mistake in the future? This shift in perspective not only brings emotional relief, but it also strengthens your mindset, helping build the confidence you need to keep moving toward your goals. Self-forgiveness allows you to lose. It's important to understand that everyone has their ups and downs on their journey. Even the most successful people have gone through failures, but the difference lies in how they deal with them. By forgiving yourself, you create an inner environment of acceptance, which is essential for thriving. Self-compassion, unlike self-criticism, is the fuel that drives change. When you forgive yourself, you give yourself permission to move forward, with more wisdom and strength to continue your pursuit of financial. This process of self-compassion and forgiveness sets the stage for a healthier, more balanced mindset, where your mistakes are seen as part of the process, not as irredeemable failures. Now, with your mind more open and receptive, you're ready to face new challenges and achieve prosperity without being held hostage by the fear of making mistakes. This path of acceptance and continuous growth is, in fact, what allows you to break free from the cycle of self-criticism and move toward a fuller, more successful life.